My name is Tanja Andersen, the host of Protecting Wildlife Summit. Today, we have an amazing organization called EP. The topic we'll talk about is we are all a part of the magnificent web of life. Hey everyone, and welcome to Protecting Wildlife Summit. Today, I have Suzana that is from EP. Welcome, Suzana.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. It's a blessing to my heart and to Protecting Wildlife for you saying yes to this amazing message.
It's a pleasure to be here because it's a way to spread the word of how important it is to protect nature. I live in a mega diverse country, but people still need to awaken to the value of nature. And
exactly.
So this has been our mission. In a way.
Exactly. Suzanne is the president of EP, and Susanna will talk about who is EP, a little bit more details in a bit to you guys. So EP is a non-profit organization founded in 1992 with the purpose to protect Brazil's outstanding biodiversity. And why I chose EP to be on this Protecting Wildlife was because I really believe the Amazon, the Brazil, what EP is working with in these areas is so important to put more awareness about, because us in Denmark, in our project we are supporting why they are cutting down the rainforest, and what they are working with. Our lifestyle in Denmark is showing up in how much damage we are doing to what EP is working with. So Suzanne, tell us a little bit more about who you are and who is EP.
Okay, the story of how EP was born came out of one project that was to save one of the 10 most endangered species at the time, the black lion tamarin. My husband was in the business world and switched to conservation from a radical change. And because he felt that he had to work to protect our natural richness. And we went to the interior of the state of São Paulo, where the black lion tamarin lived. The habitat was there. And I was a designer at the time, and I began to work with environmental education. And the reason was that I could easily see how people were damaging or were impacting the natural environment. And because of that, I began to really I began with children, but I felt that it wouldn't be enough. There was no time to raise the awareness of children until they got to be decision makers. So we also targeted adults. And the idea was to bring pride and belonging to the natural world. So we began with, we did a lot of events, happenings, like music festivals or contests of drawings or exhibits of art that all focused in nature. And with this, I spoke on radios and things like that brought people the sense that they belonged. And every time I spoke, I said, this land, everything that is here belongs to all of us. And I am from far away. I came from Rio. And but it is part of your life, and the responsibility has to be shared. And so I brought this sense of pride that they had, the black lion tamarin in their territory, which was so unique, and other species, like there was a white butterfly that was also endemic to this region, only exists there. And with that, the change began. And I saw the power of moving people, of how people could really become involved. And from the very beginning, Claudio and I, my husband and I, accepted and encouraged young people to come as interns. So they were still at the universities. I had an intern that was still from high school, and she still works with us. So we are completing 30 years this year of institutional existence, but we began before that. And so these young people never left. And when it got to a point that they were beginning their own projects, we founded IP. So IP is the result of one project and a team of people that fell in love with conservation and decided to make that the mission of their lives together with us. So many of them are still with us today and are coordinators of huge and beautiful projects. Many of them have received awards in Brazil and abroad. And so we're very proud, because the idea is that the institution can outlive us. It's an institution that we want people to be happy with what they do, but there's a mission, there's a purpose. We are working to protect wildlife, protect nature, and involve local people especially. And every time we can, influence policy. So we were able to create a new protected area for the blackland tamarin over the years. We were able to change a legislation to adopt environmental education in schools, and influence in a way decision makers. So it's a myriad of things that we have to do. It's complex. To work with conservation is a complex issue. So we need a team of committed people in many fields of study and many fields of knowledge. So it's complex, but it needs interdisciplinary approaches. It's like a systemic view of how to solve problems, how to deal with issues. And the best idea would be for you not to have problems, only have themes. But unfortunately, especially in Brazil right now, we are dealing with many, many pressures. And so we need good professionals. IP, later on, we put together an education center where we offer short courses, a master's program, and an MBA. The idea of the MBA is to influence the private sector as well. So this is mainly our story, but we expanded. We began in the Atlantic forest. We're still there. So this project in the interior of São Paulo is going on for more than 30 years, in fact. But we are very present in the Amazon, working with communities and changing habits of fires, agriculture with fires. So we're changing habits in the region and protecting wildlife as well. And we are in the Pantanal. There's one of our researchers that works with tapirs, and she's there for many years. And in the Cerrado. So we are in 4 Brazilian biomes. We are not in the other 2 just because it didn't happen yet. But I'm sure that, there's an opening in the institution for us to be wherever it is needed. And of course, there's the needs, unfortunately, are much bigger than our capacity to respond. But we are doing the best we can, and it's a pleasure to work with this, because we work because we believe so much in the cause.
Yeah, I really I really like when you talk about, in the beginning, it was just like a small project you were doing with your husband, and it was just blooming to what IP is today, like one step follow the next step. And it's just like so many opportunities, I think, that have been in front of you, just coming to you when you're just going for what you really burn for and have passion for. That is inspiring for me to really, like, it's all about to take the small steps and opportunity will come in front of you when you take the step for the first step. Oh my God. Sorry. So that is beautiful.
Yes, the thing, to work with a cause, to be an NGO instead of being employed by somebody, it's a lot of work. And there are many, many challenges. You know, it's fundraising all the time, is influencing people who will make decisions that will count tremendously and so forth, and seeing things that you don't agree to. But once I think you learn that you are capable of small changes, as you say, then the small the sum of the small changes become significant, and then you can see somehow how you can influence bigger things. And so it's interesting that you asked that you pointed that out, because you see some people arrive at IP now and they see all our success and all the our coordinators now have some kind of infrastructure. They were successful, they are successful, and so forth. And they think, oh my, they all are already all done. No, we're not all done. We have to do it every day. It's a question of believing and going step by step, as you say. And that gives you somehow the power, internal strength to proceed, to go ahead. Because then you see, okay, if I were able to do this, perhaps I can do more. And perhaps I can share this feeling of we are capable of with the team. And so people today, we are on a point that these young people that came to us are now very mature and very getting older, in fact. And so our challenge is to somehow prepare new generations all the time. And that is why the school of ESCAS is so important, because we are encouraging young people to also dare to dream of a new world that is more equitable, more sustainable, and a world that we can be proud of instead of wanting to change everything. And so
amen.
Exactly, because you see, if we just stay and say, okay, I did enough, then things are happening in such a fast pace. We can see very easily how climate change is affecting the world. We just went through a most terrible flooding situation in the interior of the state of Rio de Janeiro, where I come from. The mountains just dissolved. Why? Because there was deforestation to a point that, and they put on houses and slums and so forth. It's poor people sometimes don't have any choice. It's a question of decisions that have to be made so that people can be integrated with nature and live peacefully and somehow with so much things that are not correct. The consequences are very clear at the moment. So we had this year, the last year, and this until now, like in the last 6 months, we had floods that were awful with many deaths in Brazil. Yes. So this is already climate change, exposing itself. And it's all of somehow the reason is the way we treat nature. We don't feel that we are part of nature, and we are. We don't live without nature. So if we look at wildlife, that is the theme of your interest, how many billions, zillions of years it took for a worm to be a worm and to transform itself into, you know, a butterfly or whatever. So why do I feel that I am superior? Just because I have the power? And so these kind of values need to be revisited. And I am part of a web of life that is magnificent, that we need to learn how to be in awe, in admiration. And this is, I believe, part of the change that we would like to see in the world. We need to be part of, and we are part of, but we need to somehow reawaken to that. And I believe that that is the first step for us to be acting differently towards, and also towards other people. Why am I superior to the indigenous people of Brazil? I am not. They know so much of other ways of life that I don't. I had the opportunity of studying, so I went to a good school that was bilingual in Brazil, which is, you know, kind of a high kind of opportunity. And then I did a very good university on design, and then I went to do my master's at the University of Florida, and then I did my PhD at one of the best universities of Brazil. But all these people, they have knowledge, traditional knowledge, that I have no idea how. Of, you know, so we need to integrate and feel that we are part of this whole system. And it's the system that is the beauty of the world, and not my way of life and what I myself need and my family. It's not for me. It has to be for us.
No. And it's so powerful and so amazing what you're saying, because as I shared in the beginning, for me, from Denmark, what my lifestyle is, what I choose in my daily life, is also affecting other sides of the globe, in Brazil, in Amazon. This is like also what the topic is. We are all the part of a magnificent web of life. Like we are one unit, because my acts will affect another side of the globe. And it's so important to take the small steps to learn the skills. I do not know what my purpose is if I don't take the first step, the next step, and from step by step and learn the skill, my mission will grow, will evolve, and will be like maybe more specific to you out there. So we get to take the steps as we are talking about, to also learn the skills, also to know where is our path in life, what do we burn for, what is our vision. So we get to take small steps, and it will grow, and it will come so many other opportunities on that path you're taking. If it's a project, if it's volunteer down an EP, it will, so many opportunities will come when we take the first step.
Yes, what you're saying is very important. People don't seem to understand that everything that we do has a consequence, be it positive or negative.
Exactly.
And right now we are living this, the results of our choices. And so if we are going through the floods in Brazil, or a tsunami somewhere, it's because the way, I mean, of course there are natural causes, but right now, you know, the IPCC, for example, it's not a question anymore. Our ways of life are impacting the survival of the species itself. I mean, the world will go on very easily. It's, are we going to be here to, yes, to see it. Yes, and to somehow enjoy life. And so it's a question of cause. What we do has consequences, and so it's a cause and effect. You see, like, what am I doing? And everything, when I choose the way I dress, when I choose the way I eat, everything has a consequence. And it's really interesting. I'm a vegetarian for more than 30 years. And because I don't want to be part of the deaths of animals. So I'm not vegan, yet, maybe one day, but I'm not. I love cheese and I love things that derive from milk, and I don't have the courage to become vegan right now. But it's very interesting because it's a choice. And if it's a choice, there's no sacrifice. There's no, I feel very, very happy to be a vegetarian, and because I believe in it, so it becomes easy.
Yeah, like everything is a choice, and what we choose, it is showing the world who we are. Because if I choose to say no to working on myself, if I choose to say no to face things I get to face, it will show up in my action, it will show up in my communications, and that will have effect on my network, it will have effect on the globe, on global warming. So it's so important to really face things and say, okay, where can I make a small change in my life? What can I say no to? What can I say yes to? Of when I go in the grocery, when I buy clothes, just it's all about small steps. When I choose to be vegan in the beginning for close to 4 years ago, that was a big new world that is coming up to really know, like, there is animal product like in my stuff, because animal product is in so many things, also in clothes, like in shoes, product, you name it. So it's all about like the small step. Okay, I choose to look at my food first. After that is in, I have the skills to know what I get to choose and say no to. The next step can be clothes. The third thing could be my communication, powerful communication. So it's all about take one area first, and after you take the next.
Yes, it's a way of no return. Once you believe in what you're doing, then it's very natural in a way.
Yeah.
But we're living in a very complex world. You get into a supermarket and you see so much that is wrong. If you get really concerned about everything, you will become hysterical. And this is not at all, what I encourage. So, I have members of my family that eat meat and that are not concerned. I don't want to convince anyone of the way. I'm an example. I do it for myself. And whoever wants to, especially because I'm an educator right now. I mean, I'm a professor at a master's program and other programs. So I have to walk the talk. I have to be, I have to be who I am for real. And then maybe I will be more effective in my education role, because I'm who I am. And
yeah.
if people don't,
I really believe when we are what we are talking about, like practice what you're preaching when you are alone, when you are with friends, how you're showing up in the social media, that will motivate others to say, that is interesting. And they will most of the time make small changing in what they are ready to look at. It's all about, are you ready to look at it? Do we choose it? And it's all about the small step, because the animals, the world need us to take the small step, because when we take a small step is make the bigger change in the long run.
Exactly. It's pretty much it. And we are together. We are, we don't see it in this way, but it's one planet. It's our Earth is our home. It's and we need to treat it with love and care. And
exactly.
I think that's the main
that is
message that I can leave.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. Also in the work, what I'm also talking about, like in protecting wildlife, the movement about protecting wildlife is also about, we also get to face things like with childhood, with experience, because that will showing up in our lifestyles and choices. Because when I have pain in me, I choose to give pain. And on that point, I will never succeed into protecting wildlife, because I choose to say no to look at myself and choose to more like act out here instead of it's coming inside with love, because I can love someone else when I love myself, because I know how love feels when I give it to myself, like in the mirror, how I'm talking to myself, how I'm treating myself, what I'm putting in of food, how I put on the clothes. It's all about how I am to myself. On that point, we will fix the globe on a bigger scale when we learn it in ourselves and give it to others.
Yes, absolutely. It all begins with our inner being.
Yeah.
And you have to somehow feel connected, feel that you are part, and value yourself. Because if I woke up in the morning and all my organs functioned the whole night for me to awaken and look at this beautiful sky that is today it's so blue and beautiful. And so I am part of this nature that is all around me. And you're right, if I have a bad feeling inside, this is what I will vibrate somehow. And so if I want to change things for the good, I have to be good inside somehow. I have to believe. I will always make mistakes, because we're here for the experience, we're here for the learning. But once you know that you're doing something that is mean to somebody else or harmful, the best word, for people or for nature, then there is a responsibility for change. And if you are well with yourself, the change comes more naturally, I believe.
Exactly. And we get to make mistakes to grow. We will
Yes.
make mistakes when we take the actions out of the comfort zone and learn, practice what we're preaching. I see mistake is the bigger wisdom we give to ourselves. The biggest mistake we can do is when we make something, take a wrong choice, or treat someone else with negative energy. The biggest mistake we can do is just throw it away and say, that is nothing about me. I did not do that. When we choose not look at it with responsibility and say, okay, this happened. How can I make this better? How can I turn it around to wisdom and take it with me forward instead of like throw it on the table? That is the biggest mistake in my mind we can do, is just throw it away and say that did never happen.
I always say to my students, the people who don't make mistakes are those that don't do anything.
Exactly.
If you want to do things, you will make mistakes. And if you monitor and if you are careful of paying attention to everything that occurs, then you will learn and avoid the mistake next time, or at least minimize it, make it different. You will always make mistakes.
Always.
Yes, and sometimes, if you see that you hurt somebody, just go and ask, say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Exactly.
But with nature, it's different, because somehow, we're living right now the culmination of so many mistakes that humanity has done. So it's a question of changing. We change or we change. There's no choice. So let's change with love instead of with pain. This is my kind of approach. So we still have a chance. Let's go for it. And it's right now. It's not tomorrow. It's not in a minute. It's now. It's now.
That is so powerful. And what I always say to people is the animals don't care about us to be perfect. The animals don't care about our mistakes. They need us to act right now. Also, when we don't know what way, what we get to choose, when we don't feel like it, and when we uncomfortable, the animals need us to act every day and just showing up to make the act in the better choice in life. So the animals need us to act because they cannot wait to us to, when we feel good about ourselves, or when we have the right text, the right picture, and look good out in the picture, because they don't care about us to have a, like our hair is sticky, we have a booger in the nose. They just need us to act.
The thing is that today, the responsibility, the choice of is life going to continue or not? Is wildlife going to survive or not? Is in our hands. So it's one species that is believed to be the most intelligent and is doing the stupidest things that we could. I mean, we are being stupid. We are not enjoying all of the richness that was given as a gift. It's a gift, and we're not taking advantage of this gift. So, but the responsibility is in our hands. You know, right now there's a war beginning. Why? I mean, how do we get to a point that in the current times with so much knowledge, how do we do that? And of course, you know, it's not only people who will die, it's everybody, that every living creature. You know, if a bomb just explodes, everything that is around will disappear. So humanity needs to change the values. It's urgent. It's really urgent. I don't know if we will have the time. I always say I'm going to be doing what I believe until the day I die, because this is the way I am.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I will have time to see, you know, how do I get the energy? I get the energy with small things. You see, a student that changes his or her life because of what he or her learned. There are some small achievements, some small conquests that are amazing. So I always say that the awards that we receive are like the response for the cause. It's not for me. It's the cause that will gain. And so, and these little things drive me to do more. See? And this is where I get the energy from. Because if you look at the big picture, you will be in bed the whole day in depression. And I don't want that. So I don't choose that path. I choose a path of motivation, self-motivation, in order to continue to do what I believe is the best that I can do. It's the best that I can do, period. I don't, and you know, you can't imagine that you're going to change the world yourself. You have to somehow do your part, period.
Oh, perfect. It's so beautiful. With the last words, Suzana, what do you really, to the audience, what advice, what knowledge, what wisdom do you want they to go with if they get to choose one thing for this interview to go with to the lifestyle?
If you somehow have the capability of going to a natural area frequently and feel that you are part of, you will definitely treat nature differently and begin to see the cause and effect of everything that you do without suffering, just a way to awaken, a way to change what you can, and rejoice in what you have done. So applaud yourself in everything that you can, so that you can see that you somehow evolved. And I believe this is what I would recommend. The choices and the feeling that you are part of this whole planet, which we are.
That is so beautiful. And one of the things how you can get contact with that, or what Suzana is telling you, is going out to be volunteer, to see what is happening on the other side, to really face what is going on that will affect your way of showing up in life, how you choose in your lifestyle, and also you grow so fast because you're down there and get so much new knowledge around what is happening in the globe and life on Earth and how we are connected as one unit.
That's right. Wonderful.
Yeah. With that, Suzana, thank you so much for you to showing up and for you to really talk about amazing, beautiful message what EP is doing down there in Brazil and for the world, and also indicate others how they can showing up differently, how they can make the small changes that will support on the other side of the globe what you're working with. And to your audience out there, there's a link on this video where you can volunteer, donate, webpage, videos under this video. There's all this EP information. So please, please, please go to the links, share the videos on your own personal sites, and choose to be volunteer down at EP and learn from the best how you can turn up differently and be a better version of yourself for the globe and as a unit. So thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And if people are interested, the website of EP has an English portion, and it's www.ipe.org.br. And there you might find something that interests you. And I thank you for the opportunity to spread the message of how important conservation of wildlife, of life in general, is to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Suzana. Have an amazing day and see you soon again. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.